is up, fellow kaiju not kaiju fans? Godzilla Cairo here, and welcome to the third episode of the K-First podcast. I am joined by the usual hosts, minus one. Haha.
Get it? Get it?
This episode is just gonna be us saying our wish list for a AAA Godzilla game. And if you guys don't mind, I want to go first for once.
Go ahead. It's your podcast, dude.
Hour. I know. I know exactly what image you're gonna put up there when I said hour. Anyways.
I know. We know what you're gonna put.
The memes. Alright. So for my AAA Godzilla game, I'm going to go against the grain. I wanted to have it be a survival horror game where you're a human at the feet of the kaiju, kind of like the one Steam game, Mega, I think it's called. I'll obviously have it up when I can. But anyways, where you just try to survive the kaiju attack. And you pretty much just run, hide, maybe even have like a class, like soldier, scientist, or civilian. And each one you have to do specific tasks. Like scientists would have to find a way to kill the kaiju. The military has to fight the kaiju. And if you're a civilian, you just run, hide, and hope you don't die.
Okay.
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, and as a military, you get to pick whether you want to be ground units, mobile units like tanks and all that, or you could be a mecha unit like Mechagodzilla and Mogurai.
That sounds cool.
But you'd probably have like one mode being
Single player mode.
well, yeah, single player multiplayer. But as well as one mode being single kaiju, like just the kaiju who decide to just attack your city for no reason, or battle mode where, well, I don't know a proper name for it yet, but it'll be where you'd have two kaiju just fighting in the city, and you have to either attack one, or the quote-unquote bad one, or just run and hide, and whatnot. And they would have, like, all sorts of kaiju, like, built from, Showa, Millennium, Heisei, the Mutives, all that. And maybe, original designs for the kaiju, maybe? That would be quite awesome. Or maybe even some of the concept art, like, Maximum Impact.
Yeah, like in
well,
yeah, that.
yeah. Where it was like concept of Mogurai, concept of Mekaji, concept of Destroyer, and whatnot.
Space Godzilla.
Or, yeah, and Space Godzilla. Maybe for the scientist and the military, there could be a story mode, both single and multiplayer story mode, perhaps. Maybe. And have it be a day and night cycle. Sure thing. What else? I don't think I have any more for the wish list. Well, for mine.
Okay.
Definitely a strong start. It's the most unique sounding one for a Godzilla game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
Actually, question.
Yep.
Aside from playing the different types of human characters, I guess, do you get to play as the kaijus?
You know what? I was thinking about that.
Yeah, because I feel like the general audience, in terms of like, or even G fans, I feel like most of them just want to play the kaijus and not a random human character that they know nothing
It's-
about. I mean, I guess if you have an interesting one with like a conflicting story, yeah, I guess they want to be around them.
And then it could be like an updated version on the kaiju side of things of Generations and PS4 Godzilla, just without the
Interesting.
human element and all that. Yeah, they just haven't really been good, mainly human games, like at all. So like, you know what? There should be a good game of that. That should be. I like playing as Godzilla, but we need to mix things up once in a while.
Yeah, especially with the only Godzilla games that we have are just freaking app games.
Yep.
Pretty much.
And a bunch of strategy games.
Oh yeah,
Bunch of-
because those are so good in a Godzilla game.
Yep, we got so many strategy games.
I mean, I don't mind
Bunch-
it. I don't mind it. Just I kind of wish that it was saturated like it is.
That actually had a little more variety.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't mind them. I'm sure that they are fun, but you know.
Okay then.
So, you got anything else to say?
I
when-
think that is all from me.
I'll go next.
Well, Go ahead,
Uh,
mister. Let's see if you have an interesting idea. I'm actually taking notes right now. Not literally,
well, I have actually two ideas for a AAA file game. One being either a successor for the Pipeworks trilogy, because we've been dying, either like a remaster or something, a remaster of the Pipeworks game, or maybe a fourth game, which we kind of are getting with Save the Earth Melee, but or just a remaster of the Pipeworks game, which would be cool to see my remaster system on a modern console, because those games were fun as hell. Those games were, except for Unleashed, but those games were, well, even Unleashed, I do like Unleashed, but those games were fun to play. So maybe make a remaster of those games, but where you get to play as the kaiju and give us way more bonkers movesets, make him way more bonkers, make him fun, exciting to play. I don't know. I just want another fighting game because
So,
we haven't had a Godzilla.
so
Anthony?
basically, a remake of the Pipeworks games.
Yeah, basically either that or a fourth game. But I would love to play the Pipeworks games on a modern console because those games are fun. Either that or make an RPG Godzilla game because we hadn't had one of those. We haven't had an RPG Godzilla
Ooh.
game. Because that'll be interesting because you have variety in gaming in the Godzilla genre. And maybe get to upgrade the kaiju and make him different variants of the kaiju. Similar if you want like more idea what I think, maybe check out Bob's ETN Bob from ETN's idea of how you do an RPG game because that's pretty much what I would do for an RPG game. But basically, we upgrade the kaiju with stuff you unlock the game, stuff that you find when you play through the game, and then you get to level up, do some stuff. I would love to play like an RPG, and then and also a third idea I might have for a Godzilla game is mostly a God of War style Godzilla game. I don't know why. I just want a God of War style Godzilla game.
How would you play that?
I don't know. I don't know. I just want to have a God of War style Godzilla game. I don't know why. I don't know why. It just
You would need to figure out some way to make it work because I mean, Goji's a freaking giant.
Yeah,
Like
that's
the
what
way
I was
he
gonna
plays is
say.
the way he plays is gonna be very different from someone like Kratos, Bayonetta, and Dante. That's for sure.
Literally. Actually, what are these types of game called? The one like Bayonetta,
Yeah,
Kratos, something like that?
character action games.
Oh, okay.
That's basically what they are.
Okay. So
We
is that it,
call
Techno? Or
that's about it. Yeah,
okay.
but if I had to change, I probably wouldn't do much. Make it ideal for the public so people will want to play this game instead of giving us like another strategy game that we already have enough of because I'm sick and tired of these Godzilla strategy games that they keep on giving us. We don't need these strategy games. What are you doing, Toho? Stop making these strategy games.
Hmm. It's funny how you said that you wanted a Godzilla RPG, where because it actually exists a Godzilla RPG, not official, but made by a fan. I think his username is Burning Godzilla, something like that. Burning Godzilla 2000, something like that. But he actually did make a Godzilla RPG fan game. And in terms of not having a fighting monster game for a while, I mean, there's Giga Bash, but I don't know if that's your cup of tea.
This Giga Bash, but I technically want the full package. I want the full package of a range of kaiju that you can play as from the Toho lineup. I want the full package. It scratches the surface, but I want a full package of a Godzilla fighting game, and I'm on a console.
Okay, then. So that's it.
Yeah, pretty much. But who wants to go nuts?
Actually, I'm gonna let Neos have this one.
You can go ahead because I'm still trying to think of the rest of my stuff for it.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I could try. I'm still thinking my stuff, but okay, we're still gonna try. Okay, now this is gonna be curious because in terms of Godzilla games, I haven't played a lot. Actually, I played 3, although 2 of them are fan made. The first that I played was Godzilla Double Smash, Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash from the DS, and despite how many people say it, I actually found it pretty fun. Yeah, I found this game to be pretty fun to play. Honestly, all I can say is that play it on multiplayer. It's gonna be hell of fun seeing having like 2 guys play this game.
How
What?
is I was always curious. How was the multiplayer? Because I never played the multiplayer because I never had a friend to play with. So
Well, having played it with a cousin, it's pretty fun actually. It's just crazy for the both of us. So that's all I can say. Right. Anyways, the other 2 fan-made games that I played, one is Godzilla Daikaiju Battle Royale. It was fun at first, but eventually just got boring, honestly. And the other one that I played, the recent Godzilla Omniverse, fighting game, and it's not good, honestly. Like the controls are so bad. But in terms of that, actually, I guess I have 2 ideas. I guess, although one is basically the obvious Godzilla fighting game because yeah, I feel like we do need more of those. Although I guess not in the style as Unleashed. I was more thinking like something like I guess Godzilla Battle Legends or Kaiju Daikisen, like those types of fighting game, which that's I was mostly going about. And I feel like I guess to make it more interesting, why not have a Godzilla fighting game that is kind of like Injustice? Well, I guess the sequel, because this one actually has a story mode. So I was thinking, yeah, why not have a Godzilla fighting game that also has a story mode? One that I guess could lead to some interesting stuff happening. And although I guess for this type of game, you can only have just one version of the character because having multiple versions is gonna get a bit confusing. So yeah, that's my stand on that. And I guess for another idea for a Godzilla game, well, I don't know if saying these 2 words fit in the same category, but I guess I would say open world Godzilla game and character action Godzilla game.
Is it weird that
Now,
one of those is actually something I was thinking of?
oh
Except I was
really?
questioning the open world thing, but I'm questioning how it would work. It's
Oh
something
dang.
I'm
Well,
thinking of, but I don't know what to say.
Oh well, I'm gonna let you think because in terms of what I thought about it, well, as someone who played Sonic Frontiers, yeah, that game really does a good job on having Sonic be on an open world, environment. As for Godzilla, I was thinking of actually that last Kong game that we got, that one. um, what was it called? Skull Island: Legend of Kong. Yeah, the bad one. The one that got like so many negative reception and also that it was a bad game.
Yeah, Skull Island: Rise of Kong. The only good thing about
Oh,
it is the cover.
okay, I was close enough. But yeah, I was thinking, I guess for an open world Godzilla game, I guess, I guess for how Godzilla would move, because of course he is a huge, slow ass monster. I guess for what I could maybe have him move in a similar way to how he did in the Pipe Warps game. Which one? Well, I'm mostly all of them since I guess all of them I would like that the fact that how your character moves and they like move pretty fast and also are able to jump. Although I guess that will depend. Actually, from what I could think of is I guess there'll be at least two mechanisms for how Godzilla would move in this open world game. For once is I guess him having to walk. I guess in a similar fashion to how he does in the Godzilla PS4 game, just pretty slow walking, nothing much. And also I guess on how he would run in I guess have him run kind of like how the characters move in the Pipeworks game. Maybe I guess no, not Unleash since they don't move them fast. I guess maybe save the Earth and destroy all monsters melee because literally they move pretty fast. So that's what I was thinking of for how Godzilla would be in this game. I guess for a plot, I mean, yeah, for this game in particular, you only play as Godzilla, no human characters in there. Although I don't know, maybe some, I don't know. But I guess for the what?
What about playing as other kaiju? Would that be
Actually, yeah, that's a good idea. Aside from, I guess, Godzilla, you could also play the other good guy kaijus, or at least those that he teamed up with, such as Anguirus, Rodan, Mothra, King Caesar, Baragon, Gorosaurus, Varen, and Amanda. Those, I guess, being a good lineup for a good set of kaijus that you could play as. As I guess for the plot, I guess it could be like a similar to Sonic Frontiers from how they got to like another world, I guess. But that's still up to think about. And I guess for the enemy fights, well, I guess in these different like environments that the kaijus are, they fight like I guess original creatures. Just like I guess not like I guess they could be like small creatures that they could easily fend off. Although I guess the bosses are the numerous or like other kaijus. And as for the fighting style, I guess for some of the moves, you can you can take like both like the fighting moves in the Pyrobrooks trilogy and also the ones in the PS4 game, just so that you could have like some animations to like seeing what the opponent or what you can do against them. Basically that. And yeah, I guess. Actually, did I say character action as well?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so hold on. As for character action, I was thinking more of the. I guess actually, question: does The Last of Us count as a character action game?
I don't think so. Not really. It's not the same style. It's not really the same style as like the old God of War games kind of fall under like the character action style because it basically plays like how something like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta sort of do, like where it's mostly like a fixed camera angle, like you don't really change it, and you're basically dropped into multiple different areas where you are fighting like a bunch of bosses there and enemies, while also like gaining a score when you do it. Last of Us isn't exactly the same thing, and I guess you could say something about the current God of War games, the PlayStation 4 and 5 ones, since they do have some elements from the old games, but for the most part, they play similar to how The Last of Us does, where it's kind of done in like a more cinematic sort of way, I guess is one way of putting it. But the camera's like mostly focused on just like the character themselves, while the older character act like God of War games and then like the other character action games, the camera would be a little bit more zoomed out and wouldn't be like facing at the character's back the entire time.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's yeah. Okay, so I guess the other idea that I have for Godzilla game is something similar to Last of Us. I guess in terms of story, I guess in the story mode you would have the opportunity to not only play as the human character but also as the kaiju, as they're obviously being characters, they would be part of the story. And I guess for the type of game, it would be kind of like an apocalypse sort of situation where you as the humans try to survive basically a world filled with kaijus, and at the same time as you also play the kaijus, mainly Godzilla, who's mostly just trying to do his business, nothing all that. Actually, now that I think about it, I feel like this game could be like an alternative universe of like the Monsterverse, basically that, where you play as primitive humans in a world filled with titans, and as Godzilla, you basically have to try to. I guess Godzilla and Kong. With Godzilla, you obviously have to keep the balance in check, and with Kong, you basically have to protect your human friend tribe. Basically, yeah, basically that type of game, like Last of Us type of game. I guess being an AU alternative universe, it would follow the similar plot as the Monsterverse, just in a different setting. And I guess you can still have new elements, such as I guess the Titans, like the numerous Titans that, even though are mentioned, we don't see them a lot in the movies. I guess you could also have them in a game. Maybe as them. Actually, no. Perhaps the only playable characters that you could play in this are Godzilla, Mothra, Rodan, and Kong, since they're kind of the only good guys. I guess the only characters that would fit as protagonists to play. But yeah, that's what I have in mind in terms of, I guess, two ideas for a Godzilla game: a fighting game with a story mode, kind of like the sequel to the Injustice game, and the other basically an open world Godzilla game or Last of Us type of Godzilla game. And yeah, that's what I have in mind. Okay, so I guess that leaves you the last one, Neos.
Jesus, okay. Okay, well, I guess like one of them, I do kind of want to see like what a open world Godzilla game probably could be like. Now, I guess here's one thing that would beg the question of how exactly would you be able to do this, considering the fact that Godzilla is him and by all account, most of the other kaijus are compared to the cities they're walking in, they're freaking giants. They'll destroy everything in their path just by trying to walk by. So that begs the question of what exactly will you do? Well, I guess like for that you would also need to figure out I guess like you could probably put in like certain areas that I guess would be a little bit more easier for some of them to explore in, and I guess probably making the cities like maybe a little bit bigger, like to I guess like to basically complement for the kaiju size, but that's not exactly the main thing that I'm trying to go with here. But basically, one of the things I kind of would like to see if a open world Godzilla game was ever to be done is that I guess like for the main HUD that the characters, not HUD, but like the main hub area that the characters would go to, like I guess in between like when they would actually be out in the open world or during a mission, would actually be Monster Island, like for one of those parts where for that I feel like that would be the main place that you would have either Godzilla or really whichever monster you choose, because you're for this game you would pretty much be able to play as at least most of Godzilla's like some of Godzilla's friends. You'd be able to play as him. You'll be able to play as Anguirus. That's right. That's right. We're giving Anguirus some justice for this kind of game. He needs it.
Yeah,
I won't hear any more slander for
yeah.
him. See, somebody's happy about it. We'll give him a chance. We're actually gonna buff him up for this game. Who else? Well, obviously Mothra, and you got Rodan too. And there'll probably be a few more as well, but these are like the main four. These are at least the main four that you'll probably be playing as. And I guess for extra measure, maybe Kong, but that depends on how this game would actually go. But basically, the hub area would be the place where you would be able to upgrade your character. You would either be able to upgrade your characters, or this would also be a place where the characters would be able to rest and also take on a couple of other missions that some of the other monsters probably would have for you to do. At the same time, this would also be a place where you basically would be able to train. Now, in terms of like the mission, now in terms of the missions you would have for this kind of game, like in terms of I guess the fighting, basically I guess you could say this game would kind of be like a mix between like it would be sort of like a fighting game, but it would also still have a bit of an open world aspect. So I would say for this, basically it would play somewhat like a game that like a more obscure kaiju battle game I've seen called War of the Monsters. Basically the monsters are laid out into a like either like a wide area, some of them being cityscapes and others being a bit more exotic, but the characters would be dropped down there, and this would be the same place that each of them would be able to brawl. Now, another thing for I guess for each mission, for each mission that you would face with some of these characters, like they would get upgrades for each of their or at least skill points for each of their abilities when you go out with them. But another thing about it is that one thing I kind of would like to do is well, there will be a multiplayer aspect, but for like a single player aspect as well, there's a chance where you could probably also have like another monster out there with you, depending on whichever monster you're playing as. And as that goes, for some of them, they'll basically have like let's say they'll basically have like a special tag team moves against like a monster. Especially let's say, oh, it's kind of like a they might have a finisher against like a specific monster. Like after nearly being a boss, each of them will like have their own like specific finishers that they have tied to like a specific monster that they're basically working along with. Like this will go for just about any character where they'll both pretty much do like some sort of move that at least is associated with both of them that probably would work together with both of their move sets. Uh okay, what's the other thing I was going to say? Freak. I'm sorry if I'm sorry if it's kind of scrambled if I'm kind of scrambled around with some of my thoughts for this though. I'm still trying to think of all this stuff as I go, but I don't think I really had much time to think all of it through. But these are some of the stuff that I'm thinking of for that. I guess another thing, like I guess since like for how you would travel around to some places, I know this would be kind of goofy, but I'd say like I guess this would either work as fast travel or this would just be like a way you would be able to travel to other islands. Basically, use that one trick where Godzilla uses his atomic breath to propel himself in the air from the Showa era movies. That would be something you'd be able to do.
Oh god.
I know it.
Oh god.
I know it's goofy as heck. I know it's stupid, but I think it would actually work. I mean,
It's not
especially if you were
stupid.
supposed to
It's
go
the
to,
best thing
especially,
Godzilla's done.
huh?
I say it's not stupid. It's the best thing Godzilla's ever done, along with the
Yeah.
dropkick. Actually, it's just complaining because it came from the worst movie in his opinion.
Speaking of the drop kick, that's going to be one of the moves you'll have. Like for his move, for Godzilla's move set, the drop kick is one of the things you'll definitely have. You could
Hey,
also
Oh,
try to
nice.
change some of the. You'll be able to change some of the other abilities together, and the whole thing about using the atomic breath to propel himself in the air to fly to other areas. Yeah, you can use that. You can use that in combat too, and can chain it with some of your other abilities. The drop kick, you'll probably be able to chain that with him propelling with him using the atomic breath. Like let's say, oh, I guess like some combo you can make. Basically, for whatever output the button for the atomic breath would be, basically shoot at the ground, you'll go up in the air, and then you'll be able to combine both that move along with the drop kick. But you'll also be able to do a similar thing with some of the other monsters' moves. And like I said, considering the fact that for this game, they would have team finishers. Yeah, this is another thing where you could do where you basically would be able to chain all those combos together to do it. Like that's at least another thing I'm thinking of that they probably could do. As for a story mode, I'm not entirely sure of what exactly I'd do for that yet. That I feel like I probably need more time to figure out where exactly a story for this kind of would go. But I guess like for one thing, you probably I guess like probably could be done. It is I guess like for some parts of it, you might have like different routes for depending on which monster you probably play as. So I guess some monsters probably might have like a different ending depending on what you do. Like I guess either they'll have a different like there'll probably be one true ending, but each monster for whatever you do probably has like a different ending that probably ties all together into like the final one in a sense. At least that's the idea. I guess you could basically say take it like how some fighting games do it, or heck, even how some of the older Sonic games do it, especially I'd say Sonic Heroes in '06 kind of did it. Basically where each team had like they basically had like their own parts that contribute to the story. Their stories are different, but they all basically all tie together to like a final part of it that basically is the main thing where pretty much all these monsters have to team up against a big threat. As for what monsters would probably be some of those big threats, obviously the story is going to be one of them. Possibly Monster X as well. I'd say Monster X would probably be a good one that probably might work as a final boss, if not it being him and
Definitely.
Destroyer at the same time. Now,
Ooh.
they're probably like those aren't the only villains I say. Obviously, you're going to have a normal Ghidorah there too, but still, like you like I'd still need to figure out everything else that would go on for that. But this is at least like some of the groundwork I'd say would be done for this. Like the whole thing about Monster Island basically being the hub area. I don't know why I keep confusing these two, but basically being a hub area where basically the characters get to rest, but also you take on missions, and also will be the place where you'll be able to upgrade your characters. And actually, I guess another thing that would be kind of nice, maybe even making your own kaiju's in this game too. Now, whether
Ooh.
they actually have anything to do with the main story or if they're just done for something else, that part I can't tell you. I guess it depends on which way you'd like it to be. But for this game, you basically would be able to also create your own kaiju's if you wanted to. Now, what point in the game would you be able to do it? Yeah, that part is another thing that needs to be figured out. Whether that would actually be like at the very beginning of the game or maybe like in between, like let's say, I guess during the story mode, you probably would have, like, let's say, I guess you probably would have met other monsters, or I guess in a sense, maybe you could also have it be almost like a Godzilla Jr. situation where one of the monsters adopted them, and the said monster you adopted basically will serve as like the character you get to customize as the game goes on. Like, and I guess like another thing I kind of would like to do if this was only for this game or if it was for another one, perhaps maybe try I guess like go over some of the multiple eras of Godzilla throughout the game. This would either serve as like maybe like I guess an alternative story mode, or it probably would serve as maybe story DLCs where it also does that and might include some other monsters from each era that probably didn't make it into like the full release of the game when it would first happen. Like I guess let's say you'd also get either some Showa era versions of some of the characters, some Heisei ones, Millennium. You get a few Millennium characters, and Reader. I know you hate this era, but the Reiwa era would get some. The Reiwa era might get some love, at least for the people who like it. But don't worry because the MonsterVerse characters are there too. Don't worry,
Yay.
they're there too. You get like MonsterVerse Kong and MonsterVerse Godzilla are both there, as well as Mothra, Rodan, Mechagodzilla, and of course the Ghidorah brothers. And I only say that because of those dang funny
Yay.
heads. They'll all be they'll all be a part of that game. Oh, and the Mutos. And again, like I said, considering the fact that well, you know my stance on the Mutos. They're alright, but there's not really like a lot going on with them. So I guess the upgrade system would kind of compensate for that. Basically, you would actually be able to give it
Okay.
maybe some newer abilities that it might not have originally had, and the customization thing might also play a part in it too. Like for I guess customizing the way how your monsters look and how they fight would probably also be another thing that kind of plays into that.
Hmm.
Like
Okay.
this could go for any monster, but I'd say the Mutos are probably some of them that probably would desperately need something like that. I guess like to help them stand out a little bit more, but also give them a little bit more to do.
All right. What about the new ones, Scar King and Shimo?
They would also have to be added as well. They most likely would probably be DLCs if they're not, if they aren't like in the base, they definitely would be DLCs. And some monsters that are already in the game, some if their abilities are too similar to like the main versions of them, they would be reserved as alternate costumes. But for the ones that probably have like I guess a few like the versions of them that probably have like a little bit more to like their like more abilities that are probably vastly different from their originals, then they'll definitely get like an alternate. Then they would serve as like basically their own character, but still an alternate version of said one. Like let's say so basically for your standard Godzilla in the game, like let's say if you were using like a base Heisei era Goji or Showa era, both of them would just serve as alternate costumes for the main Godzilla, considering their abilities for the most part are about the same as Godzilla normally is. But the roars, at least, would be something that would change depending on what. So that is at least another thing that might play into it. So at least it does feel like you're still playing as a different one, even if it's mostly just to serve as like a alternate look for like the base one. So I guess like the more like let's say the Heisei era Goji, like his roar has like the more guttural kind of roars that like the more like guttural kind of sound in his roars and make it sound more feral or make him sound more like a beast. That would still apply to that design whenever you have that equipped for your main Godzilla, like for the main Godzilla of the game. But then someone like Monster vs. Goji or Shin Goji, both of them would be both of them would have like different enough powers that they would serve as their own characters, like where they'd serve as their own slot rather than just alternate costumes. Although for every Mecha Godzilla,
Hmm.
all of them would pretty much have to be all of them would probably have to be separate slots. I say the only one that probably would be interchangeable is maybe just Mega Godzilla 1 and Mega Godzilla 2, but like in terms of if you were to make that like an alternate look, but like the Mecha Godzillas would all most likely just be would mostly just be basically just different character slots. Like they all would be them specifically would just serve as completely different characters since most of their abilities are kind of different from each variant. Like for the most part, in the way that they fight and everything, that would kind of apply to each one of these for them
Hmm.
specifically.
Hmm. Yeah, sounds about right, I guess. Actually, I guess one thing, I guess for since you said about roars, well, Shin Godzilla is the only one that reuses basically all roars from other Godzillas. How would you like think of, I guess, of a way to change it? I suppose because I mean, granted, Ultima also uses like two different roles from like two older Godzillas, but the thing with Ultima is that he combines them, which I guess sounds a bit different, but I don't know. If it were, I guess, the two, and I guess even Godzilla Earth, because he also uses like Millennium Roar, would you like find a way to change them, I suppose?
Yeah, I would say for some of them, they probably would need it changed. And I guess like another thing, like in case if you want the option where each one of them that had like the roars that they pretty much borrowed from like another Godzilla, like you would pretty much have the choice to either keep that one or you'd be able to swap it out for a different one. Like I guess like basically treat the roars as if they were like I guess almost as if they were like voice lines for the characters in this sense. Like treat it almost like that, or at least like in the way it would be for like a character that you would create. Like treat it like that for some of these Godzillas in this case, where some of them would pretty much be the default one like that they would already have, but some of them would be able to either be swapped out depending on which which variant they're playing as specifically at that point, like which alternate costume for which Goji it is, or it or you'd be able to pretty much pick which one of those roars from each one you want to use for them specifically. And for something like Shin and of course Godzilla Earth, since they basically use the 54 Godzilla and the Millennium Era Goji roars, I'd say they still get to keep those, but there's also the option of like, except you're able to swap that out for another one, for a newer one that's probably meant to make their sound a little more unique. So for like Shin Godzilla, I'd say his roar probably would have to sound a little more similar to like that one video I showed you. Basically, the one where he has a more unique roar, where it would be like a mix between that and the the 1,000 screams roar form. Basically, it would sound like that, so it would actually give off the feeling that this Godzilla is a little more unique, but it also tells you that this one is actually in pain every time he's fighting.
Oh yeah, the one where he like, yeah, it sounds like he's really in pain.
Yeah, I'd say that probably would be like the main roar you'd have for him, but if you don't want to use that one and you simply just want him to be like more movie accurate, then you're able to switch it for just like the original 54 roar that he had. Like if that's what if you'd like to do that, that's basically what you could do. Like you're able to swap them out, but there might also even be a choice where like you could make a custom roar, but that probably will be like the first one that will like already be in there that whoever the developer team would have already had in case you're not a fan of him sounding just like 54.
Okay.
And this goes for just about any other monster in case they have like a variant that's like a little more different from some of their other ones. Like this would pretty much go for just about any of them. But the Godzillas especially, but this goes for just about any of the ones in case that's something you want.
Alrighty then. And is that all you have for your ideas for a Godzilla game, I guess?
I think for now, there's probably a chance I'm probably going to think of more if we ever come back to the topic. I wish I had much more to say on it. I just haven't had too much time to write out all my ideas for it.
Oh, well, don't worry, dude, because after all of the stuff you said, all I can say is shut up and take my money.
Really?
Yeah. Like, dang, the details, like, so much details for a Godzilla open world game. Like, yeah, I'll definitely play it. So, yeah. Well, yeah, I guess we said all of that. I guess one final thing we could say is that I guess the names for our games, just we can imagine what we could like name our games basically. Like, for my I guess Godzilla fighting game that is also in the same style as Injustice because it has a story mode. I'll probably call it Godzilla War. My open world Godzilla game. You know what? I'm just gonna call it Godzilla Frontiers because why not?
That makes sure Sega doesn't find that out.
Literally. And for my in my older Godzilla Last of Us type of game, yeah, Godzilla BC because why not? Since like I said, it takes place in like in an alternative universe of the MonsterVerse where it's like more primitive, and yeah.
Basically, it sounds like the premise for like that. I guess like if they were ever to do something with the whole war between Godzilla's species and Kong, that's basically what it sounds like by the way you described it to me. Like it could have taken place during that.
Yeah, pretty much. So, what about you, Kiryu? How would you name your Godzilla game?
Okay, I think I would name it like a lot of the line of some of the old Godzilla movies and unmade Godzilla movies, um, maybe like Godzilla Monster Defense Directive or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, definitely sounds good. Especially if you're using it from like a old concept that was never made.
Um,
Um.
but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say. What about you, Agno? Aside from, I guess, the Pipeworks trilogy remastered, since I hate to see how you would name them. Just Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee remake, remastered, whatever. And it goes with the other games, but I guess for your original Godzilla game, how would you name it?
RPG Godzilla. Just let me titled Godzilla. I don't need no fancy title.
Mm.
Maybe for the
Okay.
fighting game. Maybe for the fighting game, Godzilla vs. Godzilla Destruction. I guess that'd be a title I'll go for the game, Godzilla Destruction.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
Neos didn't say, I guess, his name for his game.
I guess like a working title for it. One of them probably could be Godzilla Nemesis. I guess that's something that I could probably go with. Either that or
Yeah.
I guess Godzilla Monster Nexus.
Ooh. Yeah, yeah, both sound definitely potential.
Yeah. And since we haven't even hit the 1 hour mark, we decide to continue on and change topics to what was our first Godzilla game, as well
Okay.
as, for the heck of it, our first Godzilla movie. But first, what was everyone's game? First Godzilla game. Mine was, I believe, Godzilla Unleashed from the PS2. And I loved it so much. You're like, I get to be Godzilla! I get to be back! And I remember, always playing that. And even got my older brother to play it as well. And I remember having so much fun with it. And I miss playing that game. I won't lie. And I want to play it again.
It's the PS4 version.
PS2.
Oh, PS2. Oh, so the one with
version.
the superior version. I guess in terms of graphics, they look like crap, but I guess playability, yeah, you could better play it than the Wii version, I suppose.
But yeah, that's like my first Godzilla game, and the only one I really played counting the fan games. And I think
And
that's it for me. Go on, whoever wants to be next.
Go ahead, Agno.
My first Godzilla game. Okay, before I say what my first Godzilla game, I haven't played a lot of Godzilla games. To be honest, I've very scratched the surface when it comes to Godzilla games. I've very scratched the surface. I only played like a handful of Godzilla games. But with that said, the games I have played, I do enjoy. But my first Godzilla game was Godzilla Save the Earth. And oh boy, what a way to start. That's easily one of the best video games ever made. It's perfect. It's creme de la creme. It's genius. I love that game. I played so many hours on that game. I'll play with my family all the time. Sadly, the PS2 doesn't read the disc anymore, so I can't play it. I can only play it at G Fest, which I'm looking forward to. But that game was the best. That game was my shit. That game was perfect. That game was amazing. It was everything I wanted in a Godzilla game.
And that's it.
Yeah, it was the best Godzilla game I've ever wanted. I played. I remember I used to play with my sisters all the time, and I would whoop their butt on that game. I would whoop their butt on that game because I knew all the move sets. I would play Godzilla 90s all the time, and they'll play with someone else. and I would whoop their butt. It didn't matter which character they put. I would whoop their butt on Godzilla Save the Earth. I love that game.
Dang, what a mean brother. Okay, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Alright, now my turn in terms of Godzilla game. Well, like I said at the beginning, I never really had the opportunity to play a lot of Godzilla games. Actually, as a matter of fact, this might come as a shock, but I really don't really care for Godzilla games. Yeah, I never really got into them that much, honestly. Although, of course, as a kid, I always loved watching playthroughs and gameplays. Yeah, playthroughs of like some people playing some of the games, because when you got nothing to watch on YouTube, watch those, I guess. But I did manage to get my hands on some Godzilla games that I was able to play, not counting the two other ones, which were mostly fan made games. But my very first actual official Godzilla game that I played was Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash. Yeah, the game that everyone says is the absolute worst game to be ever made. Now, this game, well, basically it was a copy from one of my cousins that he was able to get for the DS, and I was like, "Oh, a Godzilla game. Mind if I take a little peek?" Then he agreed, and then of course I played it, and it was actually pretty fun. Yeah, the game isn't all that bad. I mean, okay, I guess you could say the most annoying part of the game is just trying to like get past some like obstacles, and you have to like do some weird button mashing. And I will admit, the first time this happened, I have no idea what to do. I was like stuck in there, just staring at the freaking buttons, and I'm like, okay, should I stare at this and wait like what 1 minute or 1 hour for for something to happen? Until I learned that you had to do some button mashing, which yeah, they're a bit annoying to go through, but honestly, I still think this game is pretty fun. And besides, honestly, I guess the best way for this game to be even more fun, play it in a multiplayer. Yeah, play it with someone, which I did. At some point, yeah, I did play the game with my cousin, and honestly, it was much more fun to basically have basically the two monsters. Yeah, have like the two monsters in the gameplay. Basically, the ground monster and the flying monster. That was pretty fun, honestly. So yeah, Godzilla Unleashed Double Smash was the first Godzilla I ever played, and that's about it. Yeah, and yeah, also yeah, Neos hasn't played any Godzilla game.
Yep.
Yeah, that's that part here.
Yep.
Shame on you, Godzilla Reader. Not Godzilla Reader. Shame on you, Neos. Shame on you. You should.
I didn't
What?
have them, dude. I wouldn't have even known they were out at the time. I wouldn't have even known at the time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Blame my ignorance at that point.
All right. Yeah.
And even
Besides,
then, most of those games aren't sold anymore. So
that's true. Yeah.
Yep.
That's one for the same prices, so good luck with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I'd also would need to buy a PS2 as well to play some of them.
Yeah.
Pretty much. All right. I guess we can move on to movies.
Yep.
Since I feel like at some point we all watched a Godzilla movie for the first time.
Yeah. For me, I want to say I know it was, but I don't remember. All I remember is watching Godzilla films as a kid. We watching Godzilla 84, well, Godzilla 85 a bunch ton. Though I will say that technically I credit to my father as well as just the process of context. I think I was like a few months old to like a year or two. I have no clue, but I'm pretty sure my dad did show me Godzilla vs. Megalon because he loves that film for Jet Jaguar. So
Yeah.
so
Jet Jagger. Jet.
Yeah, yeah,
Jagger.
yeah.
So I
I know.
assume so I assume that was my first ever Godzilla movie, just before I was able to remember.
Okay.
And the fact that it was out of all the Godzilla movies, it was the easily accessible one.
I see.
It's very, very cheesy. It's
Hey, it's not.
Wait, I
This is
I
a
know
movie
we get it.
review.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know we get it. You don't like the movie, we don't care, and that's it, Kiryu.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's okay. That's Kiryu. Agno, I guess you can go ahead with the first Godzilla movie that you've watched.
Marvelous Godzilla, to be honest. Yeah, I remember. Well, the reason why I say my first Godzilla, technically, you can say my first Godzilla movie was Godzilla King of Monsters, the 1956 version, but I don't count that. I think my first official Godzilla movie was my first Godzilla. The one on the classic media set, that 5 pack. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. That 5 pack of the classic media set of. Maybe Kia could probably put up its image of it, and you know what I'm talking about. And yeah,
Yo,
that classic media.
was it
The
VHS?
one that came in, no, it was a
Oh, okay.
DVD. It was like in a 5 pack. It was a classic media 5 pack that came in like 2002, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
It was my very first Godzilla movie that I've ever seen. It was, and I love that film so to this day. And it holds a very special place in my heart for being the first Godzilla movie I've ever seen and what got me into the franchise. Well, technically, it didn't get me into the franchise. I've been in the franchise since legit birth. Because funny story, mom has a picture of me in her arms, and then my dad is showing, and then she's showing a Transmatsu Godzilla figure at me. And it's like, I'm just looking at it, it's like trying to grab it.
I want Godzilla.
And I've been a fan since birth, so that's fun to think.
Okay. All right. That was you. I guess Neos. I guess if you have a first Godzilla that you watched.
I think mine might have either been 2014 or Tokyo SOS. I'm not too sure which one of them, but I feel like one of those two were like the first two that I remember watching. And I guess that those probably were what led to me becoming a Godzilla fan at this point, or at least like basically enjoying it and wanting to get more into the series. I feel like both of those kind of served as like a bit of a gateway for me for Godzilla, I think. And Tokyo SOS is probably the reason why I like Mechagodzilla so much, especially the version from that movie.
I hear you.
Q is the best
Mhm.
Mechagodzilla. I will fight anybody on that. I don't care. Q is the
Oh.
best Mechagodzilla.
Oh well, fight me then, because I think Monsterverse Mechagodzilla is the superior Mechagodzilla.
No,
They're
he's
both the
not.
best ones.
Q's
Yeah,
the superior Mechagodzilla. I don't
right.
care.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Neo said it best. They're both the best. All right, enough. And I get anything left you have to say about, I guess, both movies that I guess you're still thinking on which one you first watched.
I guess like in terms of which one of the two I probably liked better. I feel like SOS is probably the one I like the most, but I guess like another one of the things that kind of just made that one interesting for me is also just like the whole story behind the Mechagodzilla for this movie. Well, that movie, and then obviously the previous, and then of course the other Mechagodzilla movie that would have been out around that time as well, where basically I know like every Godzilla like series at least like up until the Millennium era, because everything else afterwards, except for maybe no, yeah, everything afterwards basically divorces itself from the original, but everything before that tried to keep it tied specifically to just the first one as much as possible. I at least like the fact that I actually like how they did it for that one. Like, okay, like the Millennium era is many of the gripes I probably have for it for basically rebooting itself just about every movie. The Mechagodzilla series of films, especially Tokyo SOS, was probably one of my favorite things about it, though. Especially like the whole story where basically the OG Godzilla from the '54 film basically is the new Mechagodzilla for this movie, or at least
Hmm.
like the remains of his bones and his DNA, basically putting his subconscious into the robot body. That's an aspect I always kind of liked about Kiryu, but also about this movie in particular. And I actually kind of like the fact that he even grew to have a bit of a connection with his pilot. I mean, that's more of a thing that happens just throughout this series in general. But I like the fact that in both and in Tokyo, like both films, he basically started to actually have somewhat of a connection with the person that was piloting him, and even in a sense, even sacrificed himself to make sure that he made it out alive.
Okay then, and I suppose that's it.
I think so.
All right, my turn, I guess. Well, even though I wasn't alright in terms of Godzilla games, at least I watched a few Godzilla movies. Um, now this one I'm not sure. I am kind of sure, but I'm not sure whether if if the first if I watched the '98 Godzilla first or an official Japanese Godzilla first. Yeah, I'm not sure whether '98 the Godzilla '98 movie was the first one I watched, but I guess if I'm not gonna count that as for an official Godzilla movie that I watch, I gotta give it to the OG Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Honestly, this movie is. Yeah, honestly, I'm glad I actually got to watch this as for the first. For the first Godzilla to watch, because honestly, this movie kicks absolute ass. Like, literally. The music is good. It's like pure goldness. Mechagodzilla is by far one of the best villains in like the entirety of the Godzilla. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. Guess that could be a debate for another time, but yeah, Mechagodzilla is like an awesome villain in that movie, and I'm glad that the monster was actually took this element of Mechagodzilla back again. The fact that he was a villain. King Caesar is a cool monster. Yeah, definitely interesting looking monster. I would say the human characters in that movie are definitely actually pretty enjoyable to be around, especially the scientist guy, and I do like the aliens in this movie. And yeah, honestly, this movie is super fun. It's like a really super fun going around Godzilla movie. Yeah, I won't go as far as say that. I don't think I will say that it's one of the movies that got, because during that time I was actually getting into it, because of course when you're a kid and you're on YouTube, you got nothing else to watch but random stuff. And yeah, that was my first Godzilla movie, and I'm glad that I watched it. And also, perhaps some people might disagree, but even after all these years, I still think the Showa era has aged pretty well. And that's it.
Was that one?
Yeah, that was everyone.
Oh, speaking of movies, I'm looking at my shelf right now.
You're looking.
I've kept two from my childhood, from like the early 2000s. First one is classic media Rodan that they came out in 2002. And the
Nice.
second is Destroy All Monsters by one. Let me. Sorry, I had to get it because I couldn't read the small print of the thing. ADV Films, and it's the one. So obviously, Rodan is only the dub, while Kill the Monsters is just the movie. It doesn't come with a menu system. It's I'll probably bring it up on screen. We'll show you guys first, then bring it up on screen. But it's the 50th anniversary edition. No, 50th anniversary special edition. I don't know what's special about it, but and
The way you say it.
And it also came with. Oh wait, no, that is one special thing about it. It comes with the original soundtrack.
Ooh. Okay.
That's the only thing special about it.
Yeah, there's nothing special about it, but it has the music. Nothing else.
Nothing else, just the movie, the music, and that's it.
That's it. Nothing else. Okay.
I know, very random thing. I'll just look at it while you guys talk. I was like, I wonder if I'm the only one who has childhood Godzilla DVDs.
I don't know. All the DVDs in terms of Godzilla, or just anything in the monster movie, because I guess what?
I'm looking at the cover. I think they spelled Ghidorah without his H at the end.
Oh god, Ghidorah coming over. Who spelled my name incorrectly? But yeah, I was gonna say that in terms of Godzilla DVDs, well, I only got the Monsterverse, and well, considering that the Monsterverse is mainly yeah, worldwide, meaning that anyone can watch them. Japanese Godzilla movies are a bit hard to find, honestly.
Oh yeah, I'm still trying to find a decently priced Son of Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Godzilla 74. It's so hard because Amazon has them like 30-40 bucks, I think, and I don't want to spend that much. They should just release freaking have like a new DVD version that isn't the Criterion collection.
Okay.
I would love to get that Criterion collection, but yeah. So you guys have your own it could even be a chess that you have since childhood.
What, your our own Godzilla DVD?
The DVD/VHS that you've had since childhood. Like how I've had Rodan and Destroy Monsters since like the early 2000s.
Honestly, I feel like all the Godzilla movies that I watched, from Godzilla vs. Godzilla, Biolante, 2000, King Kong, Final Wars, I feel like all of these I watched in downloaded from the computer, so
Yeah.
I don't have any VHS or any DVD of these movies. And again, I only got the Monsters because they're worldwide movies, and Japanese movies do tend to be a bit difficult to find.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my case on that.
My family owns the entire collection of the Godzilla. So what I remember is that I would choose a Godzilla movie from the system and I'll just watch it. So my entire family, and I would always pick like Godzilla vs. Megaguirus a lot, and Mothra vs. Godzilla, the ones I like. I would always pick them a lot because I enjoy watching them.
Mm-hmm.
It was mostly the Millennium Era that I watched. It was mostly the Millennium Era that I watched a lot, especially Godzilla vs. Megaguirus. I think Godzilla vs. Megaguirus I loved it as a child. Yeah, I loved it as a child.
Oh,
Looking back on, I still love it. I
I
still love it
sorry.
today.
I always kick myself off getting rid of my 84 Godzilla VHS. Even though it got destroyed, I should have still kept it for nostalgia's sake. Because it's sentimental. Even though I hated the cover with a passion. It was one of the, It was the one where it had 84's face in the background of all the covers in the set. And for 84, it wasn't even the right suit spewing out his apparently orange atomic breath. It was like late 60s suit.
Oh wait, the one where he's like all red.
No, he was all green.
Wait.
I'll send you it and put it up on screen.
Yeah, just show it, because the only person that I know in terms of 84 is just the one where he's like all red in an apocalyptic background, and the other one where it's his face and his hand over the city looking like an evil villain. That's all the that's all the movie. That's all the posters I am aware in terms of that movie.
Let me.
Right. In the meantime, Neos, do you also?
Go ahead. I found it.
Okay, I was gonna say, Neos, do you by any chance have DVDs of anything Godzilla related?
That you've had since childhood.
Most of the Godzilla stuff I've seen was mostly through reruns.
I got it.
Oh, reruns. Okay, well, at least you've watched some.
Okay. This is the VHS cover. I hate it with a passion.
What the fuck?
Let me see.
What the fuck is that?
What is this?
Oh my god!
This is the real thing.
Oh yeah, it is licensed and everything.
Oh god. Oh god.
It came in a set too.
I see why you hate it now. It looks like garbage.
And on the
Oh
side,
my god!
the side
That's not even Godzilla. That's not even God. That's not even Godzilla. That's Oscar the Grouch. That's a dinosaur Oscar the Grouch.
Oh my! Oh my god! Actually, I think what's funny is basically, from what I can context of this poster, is literally the Showa Godzilla trying to like come back in the movies, but then in the background there's like the '84 Godzilla looking at me like, be like, "Oh, you think you're gonna come back, boy? Oh, don't worry, you're gonna be the dust.
and
Nothing but dust."
84 is about to kill.
and the funny thing is that it was part one of those sets where if you put all of it side by side in the right order, it creates the '84 the poster of the movie. Where yeah, the poster that I have behind me on the wall.
Oh wow!
Hmm.
You have that as a poster.
Not that. The actual poster.
Oh, the actual. Okay.
Yeah, that's just a VHS
Okay, well-
cover.
Okay. Well, good for you. But oh my god, that's the most funniest, ridiculous thing I've ever saw in my life.
Oh yeah.
Like Jesus, just out of nowhere. And Anna Barbera looking Godzilla just freaking it there.
No, not even Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera looks better than that.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually, what did you say? It kind of looked like it was like a Muppet character.
Oscar the Grouch as a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's literally that. That's Oscar the Grouch as a dinosaur. Literally. I don't know. I don't know if you can do it, Kiryu, but literally edit it. Find a way to edit it as it's literally Oscar the Grouch.
I actually did like side by side comparison. I'd be like, I see no difference.
Yeah. Yeah, do that. Do that'd be brilliant.
They're the same picture.
Oh yeah, I can't remember to edit that.
Yeah. Do that. That'll be brilliant.
Oh yeah. Well, we had to go a little bit unhinged. We haven't read unhinged, except for the first episode. So we have to do more unhinged conversations within these podcasts. Maybe till the end.
Yeah, basically.
But
Actually, I guess I got an idea on the last topic we could talk about before ending it.
uh-huh.
So yeah, I guess one thing we could talk about, which I actually did talk about Acno and Neos like a bit ago, the prequel comics of the MonsterVerse,
Oh, okay.
and whether they're canon or not,
Mm-hmm.
or even like in terms of their place in the timeline. I just want to keep in mind to everyone who is watching, because I actually have screenshots of someone actually talking about it and giving their thoughts, which I don't agree, but that's what we're gonna talk about. But just to make sure to everyone, no, this is not like an attack or even an hate stuff. This is just us, I guess, disagreeing and talking about the idea, just the thought of it, basically. And I do have the screenshots taking like a minute ago. Basically, Kiryu, Kiryu, do you see like the screenshots that I took? Like, it was taken. Hold on.
Oh yeah, the DM dude.
Yeah, it's a screenshot of a community post by Dinomania, which I taken in and posted it like hold on, 4:42 p.m. basically. That one. Do you see it?
Yep.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read what this person say, and then after I'm done reading thoughts about this whole idea about the prequel comics being canon. Okay. I think it's time to answer the long-awaited questions. Are the monstrous graphic novels no longer canon? Shinomura and Mutant Prime no longer exist? What is going on? I myself was confused because we didn't have any statement justifying their absence in the show, nor there was any confirmation of novels being retcon, which we're definitely going to talk about that. I got some more information recently, and now we can have a definitive answer for sure. So first off, I did watch Goji Center's video on the topic, and the answer was incorrect. I don't suggest relying on stuff they say much because there are several examples of them spreading false information or not doing proper research. It's funny. That's gonna be a bit funny coming from this person. Again, this is another attack, just us not agreeing on what they say. So the example as to why Goji Center isn't a reliable sources. As an example, they ironically claim that the Ninth Eater, that one dinosaur from Primal, is capable of damaging Kong's foot. GBK Kong, mind you. Ah yes, Kong has the durability of a tree. It's not like he survived the hits from Godzilla, who didn't flinch from nuclear explosions. Right, let's continue. As it turns out, the creators of Monarch Legacy of Monsters weren't really familiar with the graphic novels and in fact ignore what happened there. Yeah, it is that simple. So no, there was no retcon. Actually, Kiryu, if you can also edit just if you can also literally edit John Cena literally saying, "Are you sure about that?" Because just the fact they say there was no retcon when what we're gonna talk about later, yeah, sure. It's just that the writers didn't care much about staying true to the novels, which were previously established to be canon in this universe. They are mini statements. And while also writing that, this person shows absolutely no evidence as to that being the case. Not a link or anything like that. The explanation given to Godzilla's dorsal plates changing implied that they were damaged by the Mutos. Even though we haven't seen the Mutos attack or damage Godzilla's dorsals at least once. We see that at the end of the movie, they also look completely intact. Aftershock made more sense in this regard. How? I have no idea. Also, Monarch Legacy of Monsters shows us that Godzilla got nuked once, even though the 2014 movie says otherwise. Oh yeah, we're gonna... Again, the retcon is so gonna hit them hard.
How did they retcon it?
Hold on. Actually... okay, hold on. I'm just gonna finish and then we'll... what? Okay, also, Monarch Legacy of Monsters shows us that Godzilla got nuked once, even though the 2014 movie says otherwise. So does that mean that 2014 is in canon? No. Okay. Anyway, just gonna finish. So here's the conclusion: graphic novels are still canon, just as much as the movies. Future Primate Shinomura existed, and Monarch Legacy of Monster is the one not fitting with the rest because it ignores established canon. Okay.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but that's not how this works.
I'm trying to figure out what. I'm so confused.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
How did Godzilla did it?
Wait, you're saying that Godzilla only got nuked once?
No, I'm trying to figure out how there's retconnons about that.
Yeah, because apparently, now that I'm starting to think, okay, let's just give all of our thoughts on all this stuff. Now, let's start slowly, I guess, with what this person says. Let's see. Now, about the whole creators of Monarch not like paying attention to graphic novels. What can we say about it? Like, let's just say, Leos, what can you say about this idea, this fact, and that apparently it was not a retcon, that the creators ignored the comics?
I would say in this case, like I guess it depends on the perspective, but considering the fact that the people who worked on Monarch, the writing team, pretty much didn't acknowledge the comics because they weren't really told about it. Like they weren't really told about the events that happened in that to really like pretty much make it like relevant like to this series at all. I would consider that to be like. Here's the thing. I would consider that to be a retcon because of the fact that none of the stuff from the comics are ever mentioned there. However, at the same time, you also got to think about this. Monarch is not even the only like MonsterVerse thing that kind of ignores all the extended media because let's see. Godzilla 2014, even though the novel and its prequel comic Aftershock wasn't even out yet, the movie does not acknowledge any of the stuff that happened in Aftershock whatsoever. Because if that was the case, then we would have already saw Godzilla with his dorsal spines completely damaged throughout the movie. Problem is, there's a big inconsistency because that's not the case. That's like when you actually look at it, that's not the case whatsoever. Because from the looks of it, his dorsal spines are pretty much intact. And then here's another thing. You also got the fact about Shinomura and the Muto Prime. You don't really ever see them, nor are they ever really mentioned in anything else afterwards. Even in Godzilla King of the Monsters and Godzilla versus Kong, there is no like mention of them whatsoever, or even like any evidence to really support that any of the events that happened in any of the prequel comics ever actually happened in universe. So that's kind of that's kind of when everything kind of gets a little murky and would make you question, are these books even canon or are they kind of just there? And from my stance on it, considering the fact that nothing really acknowledges, like none of the movies and even Monarch doesn't really acknowledge any of the stuff that happened in those books. And if this pattern continues with Godzilla X Kong the New Empire, there's a good chance that these books might not even be canon whatsoever, despite the fact that you would think, oh, like all the stuff that you like, all these details that they have about some of the monsters and also their history that happened before these movies, you would think that stuff would be really important to bring up in the movies. However, the movies completely ignore them. Like by the time those are out, all the stuff that happened in the comics are not even required reading because apparently the movie doesn't even acknowledge them. And when you even got the fact that even the writers didn't know about the comics, maybe that should tell you something. Maybe that should tell you, maybe the people who were in charge probably said that the comics weren't really relevant, or maybe the writers probably knew about the comics' existence but didn't know about the stuff that happened because either maybe the people at the top told them that they weren't relevant, or maybe just felt like the stuff didn't need to be acknowledged because none of the movies ever did it. So I guess you could basically say they're still fun things to read, but at best they're kind of filler. Not to say filler is inherently a bad thing, because I mean it isn't. This is kind of like whenever people hear the word filler, it kind of just usually it's done with a bad context, but most of the time, like in other cases, filler could literally just be used just to build things up in a way to wind things down, like slow it down, just to give like a little bit more room for the actual big events that's meant to happen in a story. In the case for this, that's basically what you could look at these books as. Even though a lot of the stuff that happened in them would actually be really important information. So you could either say one, these books were retconned, or two, they were never canon to begin with.
Yeah, basically that. Also, in terms of the retcon stuff, yeah, Dinomania, no offense, but there's the MonsterVerse has done like retcon at least twice. At least, actually no, retcon three. Actually no, it has done retcon at least 3 times, from what I can remember. Honestly, well, I guess 4 times, maybe, but honestly, I'm actually gonna go with these retcons at least with each movie. I don't know with Godzilla King of the Monsters, but I'm gonna go with first of all with 2014. So according to this person, they say that okay, in a Monarch, we get a flashback of Godzilla getting nuked once, and that apparently in 2014 that was not the case. However, getting my memory, trying to to get my memory to work, especially with what Wikizilla said in their Godzilla Legend in the kaiju profile, I'm pretty sure Godzilla only got nuked once. There was never a mention of the humans literally using multiple nukes to get him. I think we can agree on that, Kiryu, right?
Yeah, literally, the Casa Bravo test is the only test they nuked him with. And then he disappeared, and everyone thought, he's dead now. Until, surprise, he ain't dead.
Yeah. Also, aside from that, there's also the retcon that in the prequel comic of 2014, which I believe is Godzilla Awakening, right?
A prequel comic, yeah.
Yeah. In Godzilla Awakening, the moment that Godzilla gets nuked, before he gets nuked, Godzilla proceeds to fight the last Shinomura, and when they throw the nuclear bomb on them, well, Godzilla survives, although the humans cannot tell, but Shinomura gets completely disintegrated, like it literally dies. Shinomura in 2014 is never mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, even if you get like the DVD edition with like, if you get like the DVD of 2014 with like special editions in terms of the whole of the lore, according to Wikizilla in their profile, Shinomura is never mentioned. Now, I guess you could say,
I think Awakening was based off of a previous script than the final script, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I was gonna say that. Yeah, maybe because of the fact that Awakening the prequel comic came after 2014, that perhaps in terms of planning they didn't plan it correctly. But still, even then, that's still a bit of a poor plan. Like saying that, oh, Godzilla during that time fought a monster, but the movie barely mentioned it, nor did the characters even mention it outside of that. So I don't know. And apparently that was part of an original script?
I think I've heard someone say that. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I won't be surprising if it was actually a script.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it might have been based off of a previous draft, which would make sense if you ignore the sailboats.
Yeah, I suppose so, but still a bit of a poor planning on them. But yeah.
Yeah.
Now the second retcon, Kong Skull Island. In terms of the whole origin of the island, I suppose. Now, again, remembering for the kaiju profiles of Wikizilla, according to the movie, the Hiwi tribe feared all of the island's monsters until the Kongs appeared and protected them, with all of them being killed by the Skullcrawlers, and also the fact that the Skullcrawlers were the one responsible for killing Kong's parents.
Mm-hmm.
In the prequel novel, Birth of Kong, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Birth of Kong, we see that there was a huge war between the Kong and the Skullers in Skull Island, with literally the war leading to only 2 individuals surviving, and later on they met the Iwi tribe. Now, yes, later on we do get their final battle with the Skullcrawlers, and while this is happening, Kong would have been born, although unfortunately he would have watched, hidden behind rocks, he would have watched his parents being slaughtered by the Skullcrawlers. Now, at this moment, it seemed like the prequel comic, it seems to be almost in check with the movie. The issue, however, is that of the sudden war between the Kongs and the Skullcrawlers, which is never mentioned in the movie.
You mean between the Cones and the Godzillas?
No, not that. Not that. Okay, maybe not war. No, because if I remember, one of the characters gets a flashback of the past of the island, and one of them was literally the species against the numerous Skullcrawlers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was talking about, not the whole war between Godzilla and Kong. Yeah, again, the prequel comic says that there was a huge mini war, not like huge same level as the other one. A small war between the Kong species and the Skullcrawlers, and the fact that only 2 of them two of them met the Iwi tribe, even though the movie that said that the Kong species protect them. Unless I don't. This one is confusing, honestly. This one is so hard to pinpoint which one is even clear.
I mean, also,
like-
sorry, probably, the we don't know like the contacts because it was it two Iwi tribes, one, and this, and the Iwi tribe we see as the descendants of a migrating tribe that they came down for safety and for another tribe, and then they met Kong. Who knows? The Kongs.
That.
So pretty much my theory is just that there was two tribes of Iwis. One of them came down for safety. Or I say you have gods. Can we stay with the said gods and you guys?
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, now for the retcon. This one's gonna be a bit difficult because it's literally the prequel comic of Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla Aftershock, the one where he fights Muto Prime. Now, this one I don't think. I don't know, Agno, you said that the events of this one takes place literally in the same year as 2014, just in a few days or months.
A few months after 2014, like the
Yeah, but-
same
yeah.
exact year.
But does it take place in the same year?
Yeah, same year.
So maybe.
Okay.
I want to say
yeah.
fall.
2014, yeah.
Yeah, because I think it's easy to say that May would probably be the safe best, the safest best bet of when the events of 2014 takes place. So if it's a few months, like late summer, early fall, around there, because it only says a few months after the events of 2014.
Yeah, okay, a few months after. That dialogue is so weird. Why? Okay, a few months after the events of 2014. That sounds like it's next year or something like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you talking about it in like years context, that's always. Oh yeah, you know the events of 2014. Yeah, a few months after those events, blah blah blah, type deal.
Right. Okay, so yeah, okay. So in this one, yeah, Godzilla gets his dorsal spine completely broken off by the Muto Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess there's the question of how fast these is like Godzilla's dorsal spine would have grown from this to 2019 King of the Monsters. That's the question. Because in the 2014 movie, they were already a bit. Actually, no. Yeah, in the 2014 movie, they were basically underdeveloped, and in the Monarch series, we see that they're already fully grown. That meaning that that since 2019, they would have been already grown, unless you get also the Aftershock where they were broken off, meaning that they would have taken Godzilla, I guess, 1 year to have them grow fully, I suppose. If that makes any sense.
A year, so it's most likely 9 months for them to go back.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, I honestly, this is me, but I feel like if they said that, oh, Aftershock isn't canon, I feel like the reason they would say that is because, as it turns out, Muto Prime is actually the parent of both Mutos. So that would mean that the two Mutos that we see in 2014 are siblings.
No, let's just not. Please, let's just not.
You'll be surprised that there's incest in Animal Kingdom. So I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's honest. Don't blame me. The fact that this even a fact, just why? Yeah, honestly,
oh god.
yeah, honestly, the Mutos definitely need a family therapy for this.
Oh my god.
Right. Anyways,
But
now for
but is the Muto Prime still canon?
that's the question.
In,
Because again, yeah,
in this post Legacy of Monsters world.
I don't know. But again, considering of that detail, I feel like Monsterverse, the Legendary, is definitely not gonna make that canon if that's really the idea they want. Right.
Loose
Anyways,
cannon. Let's just say that it's loose cannon. Comics are loose cannon.
right. Anyways, now for the last retcon. Now this one is interesting because it's not even gonna be one of the Godzilla. It's not gonna be the Godzilla comic prequel of GBK, not Godzilla Dominion, was it? Yeah, Godzilla Dominion. Okay. Instead, we're gonna take a look at the other prequel comic to GBK, Kingdom Kong, or Kingdom Kong.
Yeah.
And this one, I certainly remember it because Wikizilla did mention it in the Kong Kaiju profile. And I'm sorry, but if you say that this one is definitely retcon, yeah, no. This one is 100% a retcon. Actually, there's two retcons that in the movie is not even explained. Well, one of them isn't explained. First of all, the whole tornado stuff. Now, I guess ignoring the fact that the tornado actually came from Ghidorah, which I don't actually know. It's not even mentioned in the. It's not mentioned in the.
I don't.
In the Kong. What?
I don't
Mention-
think. I don't
It's-
think he even came close to Skull Island though.
It's mentioned at the weather of Ghidorah's storms around the world,
Oh, okay.
along with Camazot's storms, because Camazot is also
Yeah,
the reason why.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I know. But the question is, where is the source that says that Ghidorah's storm was like getting into Skull Island? Was it was it mentioned in the Kong Kingdom prequel, or is it like in some sort of a novelization? That's the question. Okay. Right, I guess we're going to ignore that. So yeah, ignoring that. Apparently, Camazot, the moment he was there, he would have, I guess, his presence would have literally led the storm to literally cause Skull Island to be literally shrouded in a giant storm. In the movie, not only is he not mentioned, but we get no explanation as to why the storm even destroys Skull Island. Although by far the biggest retcon is this. After Kong kills well, I don't know if he kills him, but after Kong defeats Camazot and the storm was already starting to like surround Skull Island, Monarch decides to help the last remaining Iwi tribe along with Gia escape the island. And we literally get an image, literally see pages of the Iwi tribe along with Gia going into airships to escape Skull Island. However, in the movie, we get stated that it's stated that Gia is the only survivor of the Iwi tribe.
Yeah, that well, it also depends on if if the carriers was able to get out in time, because Gia wasn't able to get on I think it was Osprey, I don't know, but was able to get on the Osprey or anything. So,
well, in the movie it just says that Kong saved her, and that's it.
yeah, Kong was probably like watching over, watching as the Iwi started to board, and then something happened that wiped out the tribe and the transport, and then Kong sees that Gia survived, so he was able to save her.
I guess so, but honestly, I still think it's a retcon. So I guess in total, that makes literally 3 retcons in the Monsterverse. Now it's a bit hard to think that the comics are not only not canon, but they also have been retcon. Especially considering that after the movies, we now have the Monarch series and also the Skull Island anime, which also don't make any mentions of the comics even happening. So yeah, I don't know about you, but that's yeah, I don't think. Again, nothing against Danomania, no hate towards them. I'm a subscriber to their channel and I watch their videos. They're pretty cool, but I don't think they're right with what they're saying in the community post. So yeah. Okay. I guess we could finish up with with our thoughts. So, what do we think? Do we think that the prequel comics are canon or not?
I'm rewriting them to be canon, except for Awakening.
Rewrites don't count, but okay.
No, so I'm going to do a Monsterverse rewrite. Me. In this brain of mine.
Yeah.
That
Goody. Goody rewrites. Like, we need them.
that that has trouble rubbing two brain cells together. But anyways, but no.
Right, okay.
I think there is a way to puzzle it together, just not without having to rewrite some things, which sucks. It really sucks.
Okay. Okay. What about you, Akno? Do you think they're canon or just, I don't know?
They're loose cannon, sort of canon, because the movies never, all the Monsterverse movies really don't acknowledge the fact that these comments actually happen. They don't mention it, so I guess the comments are loose cannon. That goes for the novelizations too. The loose
Well,
cannon.
technically speaking, I don't know if the novelization count because they're literally the movie, but I don't know. Okay.
But the comics are loose cannon. They've always been stated that some of the events don't. The movies just completely forget about the events of the comics. It's mostly just because of the writing staff just not saying. No one, the producers are legendary saying nothing, not telling the writing staff to mention the comics.
Okay, so yeah, that's yeah. And what about you, Neil? You think the comics are canon or just retcon to the point that they don't even exist?
I'd say they're probably not canon anymore. Like I'd say they probably were at first, but too many retcons and too many times have gone by where they were completely ignored that I think they're just not really canon anymore, or maybe they just weren't canon to begin with. That's how I feel about it. I want to be proven wrong by Godzilla X Kong, but I'm not so sure about that. I feel like that's just going to ignore the prequel books too. So yeah, I'd say they're
Yeah.
not canon.
Yeah, for my final stand, yeah, they're not canon. So many retcon has been done, and honestly, there's nothing you can say about it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Danu Mania, nothing against you, but you can say what you're saying doesn't really provide any sort of evidence that the comics are canon. Although I don't know, but yeah, they're not canon. And yeah, feel like
No, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. I feel like yeah, I think we can end this podcast here.
Yep. And that'll be it. So obviously, you're on my channel. My social medias plus is in the channel banner. And my Discord server is in the description box. And yeah.
So where can you find me? Video content, Godzilla Reader. Fan fiction stuff, Godzilla Reader. Tag name, Reader Godzilla. And art, drawings, fan art, whatever you want. Twitter, Godzilla Reader. Tumblr, Godzilla Reader. DeviantArt, Godzilla Reader. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
You can find me on Twitter at @noofficial or @nogojiofficial. You can find me on Instagram at @nogoji2017. You can find me on Facebook at @nogoji. You can find me on Twitch at @nogoji. You can find me on Wattpad if you're interested in reading the Raijin Battle Royale novelization. You can find me at @nogoji2001. And you can find me here on YouTube at @nogoji2001. You pretty much find me anywhere on @nogoji or @nogoji2001.
Okay, for YouTube, you can find me under Neo_Cyber/NeosGamer04, or you could simply just put in the tag Neo_Cyber, and that's how you'll be able to find me. As for my Twitter, Instagram, and my TikTok, yeah, it's the same thing. At Neo_Cyber. Those are all the places that you can find me. And I guess Discord, even though I really don't have a server, just an account. I guess if you wanted to be up on Discord, then it would just be at NeoGamer04. And that's about it.
And now, this is Godzilla Karu.
Anagoji.
This has been Neo's Gamer.
And I'm the Godzilla Reader.
Sign off.
Signing
Signing off!
Now.